Man, we back with another one. We live with it, man. Fresh after the Golden State game 4 versus Houston. Good game, good playoff intensity type game, good physical game. Came down to the end. Jimmy played, Freddie V showed up. I think he hit about 7 or 8 threes. Hell of a game, man. Hell of a game. My takeaways from that is Draymond's valuable. Ben knew that. He got in early foul trouble. But for Houston, we're going to start with Houston. I mean, Jay Green has to be consistent on that offensive end, because if his offense isn't flowing and he's not hitting shots, I don't think he's going to be on that floor in the clutch moments. They need him to be on the floor, but most importantly, they need his scoring. You know what I mean? Like, Houston a deep team, though, so. But I just think for them to win games in this series, like they did Game 2 when he had 38, Jalen Green is going to have to be more effective on that offensive end. I expected Sengun to, do what he did. He had a solid game. 31, 10, and 5. Thompson, 17 and 9. Freddie V, like I said, 8 threes, 25 and 6. But I think it was a good physical playoff game. Jimmy, first game back, 27, 5 and 6. Pies with 26, 5 and 5. That was the X factor of this game for Golden State for sure. Curry, 17, 3 and 3. 6 for 13. So, I think Houston's game plan was to make a guy like Podziemski beat them, right? Let's try to limit Curry shot attempts, take him out the game as much as we can. Make a guy like Podziemski hit shots. He had 6 threes, 6 for 11. So, Jimmy coming back off an injury. Playoff Jimmy's a real thing. I'm going to say it again. Buddy Hield with 15 big ones. 3 threes, Post with 13 points off the bench. So, it was good depth for Golden State. It was a chess match too. Towards the end of the game, Steven Adams was getting, he was a big piece for them. 4 block shots, 5 offensive rebounds, and Steve Kerr put in Kevon Looney to play the foul game, foul Steven Adams, because the percentages show he's not a good free throw shooter. So that forced Houston to take Steven Adams out the game. And I think that chess move right there from both teams. But from Steve Kerr to initiate that move was a big one. I'm not going to lie. Because he was very beneficial in that fourth quarter on those offensive rebounds, blocking shots, them being able to play a big lineup. So shout out Steve Kerr. That was a move I saw that was valuable for sure. I think Golden State can finish it 4-1 next game in Houston. Jalen Green, 8 points. They're not going to win no games with that, even though I said, the potential of how he's playing can affect if he's going to be in the game at the end. Jalen Green is a scorer. Personnel-wise, he's a scorer, so that shot isn't falling. It's kind of hard for coach to leave him in that game. So I think for them to get a win, they're going to need a huge game from Jalen Green. So we'll see, man. It was a hell of a game, man. Jimmy Butler and Dillon Brooks had a moment, turned Jimmy up. He wired like that. So, hell of a game. Shout out Draymond Green for getting a huge defensive stop at the end on Sengun. And letting the people know afterwards, boy, stop, boy. I won, boy, who? Boy, I should have been defensive player of the year this year. Matter of fact, why the fuck you even wanted to go game on me? Y'all caught an ISO on me? Yeah, talk like your talk, Draymond. You know, we fuck with Draymond, so yeah, I thought that was, a huge stop. And then just being able to be disciplined with those 5 fouls. I think he had 5 fouls early, mid-third quarter, and just being able to finish that game without getting a foul, being able to control emotions better, because he picked up a crazy first technical foul that shouldn't have been a tech. Then he picked up a flagrant. Then he picked up the 4th foul, the 5th foul. So just being able to be cool, calm, and collected and get a huge, not just one stop, but some huge stops. But that one stop was the game-winning stop for sure. Shout out Draymond for sure. Play out basketball, baby. Play out basketball. Players show up. They show you what type of role they're very beneficial in. You feel me? Freddie V showed that I got a championship with the Raptors against this team. What is y'all talking about? I'm the vet, for real. Yeah, I probably had a couple first off games, but I'm here. You know what I mean? We're going to keep this shit afloat. You know what I mean? Like you said, he's the calmer for that team too, though, but he's the vet also. You know what I mean? So the ball in his hands. You know what I mean? He really driving that boat, controlling the ship. So, but I think Golden State gets somebody in 5-4-1. Houston could win next game. Depends on if Jalen Green, has a good game. So, we're going to see, man. We're going to see. I think if Jalen Green doesn't have a good offensive game next game, I think Houston doesn't hesitate to pull the trigger and trade him this offseason. Because I think, Houston getting a taste of this playoffs, seeing where they at, seeing the pieces that they got, Jalen Green's a good player, you know what I mean? But the business of it nowadays, you never know, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, but I expect him to have a better game for sure. We root for the underdogs. Jalen Green was an underdog coming into the playoffs because it was his first time. So, and then, out of 4 games right now, him, I'm going to be honest, having one double-digit game, and that was a 38 game. So, I expect him to bounce back from that. Continue to learn from it, too. So, we back with another one, House of Underdog Talk, man. Coming from the office, man. We so raw cut with it. You know what I mean? But, yeah, coming from the office, stay tuned, man. We got a whole lot more gas on the way. I'm still learning, you know what I mean? But, yeah, House of Underdog Talk.